Hey, what is up, guys? I have another battle here for you today, another OU standard battle against a guy named Tilydily, and he's a newcomer to my stream, so it should be pretty interesting, not knowing what to expect. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, and hope that I don't end up making a fool out of myself. So there you go, you guys can see both teams. As you can see, both of us are bringing pretty competitive teams, and it should be pretty interesting back and forth action, so here we go. He leads with a Landorus, which, you know, whenever you see a Landorus on your opponent's team, you kind of think that he's probably going to lead with it because, let's face it, most times Landorus sets tend to be very good leads. So he just goes for the knockoff, as I just go for the Will-O-Wisp. This is actually a bulky Rotom, not a Scarf Rotom, which I usually prefer, but I decided to change it up this time, and yeah, he is going to be able to knock off my leftovers. However, I'm able to get off that burn, which is pretty huge. No matter what set that Landy is, it's probably going to have some physical attacks, so it's not that bad. Anyway, so I just go for a Hydro Pump. He ends up going into Serperior, which is a good play, and it doesn't even do it. It misses anyway. Not that it would have really done that much. I go out into my Talonflame now, expecting a Leaf Storm. He ends up predicting that. Pretty nice play. Just going for a Dragon Pulse, but because of the fact Serperior does not have great special attack without a boost, it doesn't really actually do as much as he was probably hoping for. And, yeah, he just goes in a Heatran as I decide to go for the U-turn to see what he'd do. And, yeah, it's not a bad play for me. Obviously, I'm not going to get much Heatran damage, but I am able to go into a counter now. And I decided to go into my Hippowdon, knowing that this thing does not have the, you know, the balloon, the hot air balloon that would make it immune to my Earthquake attacks. Now, I don't think he's going to risk staying in here and taking an Earthquake, so I decide just to go for the Stealth Rocks. Just to set them up. They're always good to set up, and yeah, he just goes into Octavius now, this Scizor thing, and I'm not really sure why at first, because actually I still don't understand why, because there's not a whole lot Scizor can do to me. The worst thing that could happen is this is like an SD Scizor and tries to set up, and I'm just going to go for the Whirlwind. I figure that if it was a Choice Banded one, it might just U-turn, and then that's pretty good, and obviously, if it tries to Swords Dance, it's just going to be phased out. He ends up just going for the knockoff, which is not a bad play. Getting rid of my leftovers definitely limits Hippowdon's, I should say, bulk a bit. Unfortunately for me, he does get roared into Keldeo, which is probably the thing he wanted to get roared into. I do not want to take a Scald, so I go out into my Tentacruel, and here he makes a somewhat curious play, going for the Substitute, which is pretty interesting on Keldeo. I don't really see sub-leftover Keldeo sets often, but this is that. I mean, this one is that. So, yeah, he is going to try to go for the sub. However, I'm just going for the Sludge Bomb. I'm trying to get damage on this Keldeo pretty much, and yeah. He ends up getting the burn, by the way, off the Scald. It doesn't really matter that much except for the residual damage, which is always annoying. But yeah, there you go. There's the the Substitute. And here's the Sludge Bomb, which is going to break the sub, which is good for me, obviously, not going to give him that sub. And at this point, he does decide to switch. Now, he makes a pretty curious switch here. I'm not really sure what he was thinking. He ends up trying to go into Serperior here, which, obviously, being the fact that I was just using Sludge Bomb, I don't know why he would think that I would switch it up, especially after he showed the sub. There's no way I'm going to, like, let him, like, get a free sub, you know? But yeah, he ends up going to Serperior, which is not a great play, because I am going to be able to get that super effective Sludge Bomb off, and I even get the Poison, which is even excellent, well, even more excellent. Actually, it's not that great, because it doesn't actually finish off Serperior. And now I have to predict what move he's going to use again. Either way, he's going to die to his own Life Orb. If not, I mean, even if he goes for the Giga Drain, which he probably wouldn't use against Tentacruel, I'm pretty sure that he dies to the Poison anyway. Either way, just does try to go for that Leaf Storm now. I go into Talonflame to X4 resist, and yeah, I do that, and this Serperior is going to kill itself. So, not a great play going to Serperior there. Not really sure why he wanted to do that against Sludge Bomb, but okay. So he goes into Landorus now, which is a free switch, and I still don't know what set this is. It could very well be Scarf, and I know I can't kill him with Brave Bird at this point, so I don't want to risk the U-turn either, just in case it is Scarfed. It would outspeed me. So I just go back into Hippowdon, figuring that whatever he does, it's a safe play. And he does have the Stone Edge, and he does go for it. And looking at that, it probably is the Choice Scarf set, and even with the burn, that probably would have killed Talonflame, so good for me. Anyway, I'm just going to go for the Earthquake, not because I actually went for the Earthquake here, thinking that he would try to predict a Whirlwind, and as you can see, I did not use Whirlwind, which forces him to switch out, and I predicted this turn that he would switch out, and I get off a Whirlwind, which is pretty damn nice, because I got some extra burn damage because of that, and he's going to get into a Pokemon he doesn't want to get into, which is this Heatran, and that's pretty awesome for me, as now he's just going to munch on leftovers. And I'm just actually going to try to go for the Earthquake this time, hoping that maybe he'd overpredict, thinking I would try for the Whirlwind again. Now, he does make a good play here, switching right back into Landorus, and Yeah, that's obviously not going to do anything to a Landorus. However, this Landorus is nearly dead, especially, with that burn. It's just, taking so much damage. It's going to go for the U-turn. It's not like he can do anything to hip out on anyway while he's burned. I'm actually just going to go for the slack off to see what he would do and, heal the damage if he does try to go for, like, Earthquake or something, even though it probably wouldn't even brought me down to half, especially when burned, so... Yeah, I just go for the slack off anyway, but now I'm full health again, so that's pretty cool. As he goes back into Scizor, which I still think has nothing to do to me. I'm pretty sure that the Scizor cannot touch a Powdon. But he does have Defog, though, which does force me to set up Stealth Rocks again as I just try to go for the Whirlwind. And, yeah, that was actually not a bad play, trying to get rid of my Stealth Rocks, although I'm still, into Powdon here. Fortunately for him, though, I get the Whirlwind into Altaria this turn. Sorry, fortunately for him, unfortunately for me, because now that even though I'm going to reset up Stealth Rocks, I'm not going to be able to get that 25% hit, because this Altaria is no longer flying. I do roar it away this turn, just in case it's a Dragon Dance set. I don't want to give it a chance to set up. But now that he goes back into this thing, I know that I have an opportunity to just go for Stealth Rocks now. So that's what I do. He does go for the Earthquake this turn. As you can see, it does absolutely nothing. Because Hippowdon is a physical beast tank, and this thing is burned. So it's not very strong at this point, and he is just going to go for the Earthquake again, which I believe after the burn, he will die. So that's pretty cool. I just go for the Slack Off to get back all of my HP, and just watch this Landorus as it dies to burn, and that makes me happy. Not going to lie. Goodbye, Landy. Nice try, and all that. He goes back into Keldeo now, and I'm actually worried he's going to try to set up a sub on me, but I just can't risk it. I don't want my Hippowdon to take a Scald, so I go out and erode him, hoping that he's going to try to attack me, not go for a sub, and he does, so that was pretty nice for me. Kind of really thankful he doesn't try to go for that sub, because it could really do some damage to me. So he's just going to go, actually, he's going to switch out here against my Rotom, and knowing that his Pokemon team is, his remaining Pokemon are all about full to high health, I actually just go for a Pain Split, end up going into Heatran, which is pretty good for me, because I'm going to be able to get some much-needed HP back with my Rotom, which is pretty important, since I already lost my leftovers, and, Rotom Wash does not have a very reliable way to recover its HP. So I just go for a Hydro Pump now. I do hit, but he does survive it, showing you the bulk of Heatran. And he does set up his own rocks, so now we both have Stealth Rocks up, so now I have to deal with it as well. Anyway, I'm just going to go for another Hydro Pump, hoping to KO, and I do. So, hoping to, hit and then KO. And, yeah, obviously I would KO if I hit. Yeah, that's... Anyway, in comes back Keldeo. And I'm not really sure why at first. Actually, the only electric move I have is Volt Switch. Maybe he knows that. I just go for he just goes for a Secret Sword, but it actually does do some nice damage as I just go for a Volt Switch, hoping to KO, and it does, so I don't have to deal with that annoying Keldeo anymore. And I'm going to switch into my own Mega Evolution now, which is Pinsir. And I know I'm going to be taking 25... Sorry, I go into Tentacruel. I lied. I do know I go into Pinsir at some point. But my Tentacruel is nearly dead. Yeah, and I think he's just going to go out into his Altaria, Mega Altaria again now. Yeah, there we go. Missed a step. I'm going to try to go for a Sludge Bomb. Obviously, it's super effective, but he does have Earthquake, so he's going to be able to take out my Tentacruel. But now I'm going to try to go out in my Pinsir. I figure, let's go ahead and fight Mega with Mega, because I know Mega Pinsir can hit really hard. I'm going to outspeed it anyway, so I don't really need to use Protect this first turn. I'm just going to go for the Return, which turns into a Flying move and also boosts it. So, yeah, I'm hoping to do some nice damage against its Altaria. And, yeah, that's what I do, and it, as you can see, does some really, really nice damage. As he just goes for a Fire Blast, meaning this is a mixed Mega Altaria, which is kind of cool. And he is just going to switch out, which is kind of a poor play for him, because he does not have enough HP to come back into Stealth Rocks. I don't know whether he forgot about it, thought he had enough, I don't know, but that wasn't a great play as I just go for a quick attack. Actually, that was a bit of a misplay for me, too. Knowing that I was faster and that Altaria doesn't really have any priority moves, probably should have just went for the stronger Return. Oh well, I just go into Dragonite now, knowing that his last Pokemon is pretty much this Scizor. And at this point, I kind of actually thought that he did have enough HP to switch back in Altaria, so I'm just going to go for a Dragon Dance here to pretty much clinch it. And he just goes for the knockoff, which actually does some substantial damage. And I'm hoping that he cannot kill me now with this Bullet Punch, and he cannot. So that's pretty good as I just go for a Roost. I really should have just killed him. But, yeah, now I'm going to wise up and just kill this Scizor with a Fire Punch. And I figure even though, I mean, I hopefully can kill Altaria at this point with a Fire Punch of, a Fire Punch. But he ends up just dying to Stealth Rocks anyway, so That works out. Either way, good game there, tilydily. And, yeah, that was just a lot of fun. Anyway, today's question of the day is going to take a little bit of pondiffering. Okay, that's not really a word that I think applies here. But, yeah, so I've been thinking that, about some question of the days, and something that I kind of like is when they add divergent evolutions to the game. Like in Gen 2, when they added Politoed as a divergent evolution for Poliwrath, Bellossom for Vileplume, and then they did it again in Gen 4 with Gallade and Gardevoir. So basically, what I'm asking you is this: what existing not fully evolved Pokemon do you think could benefit most, or that you would like to see a divergent evolution for? So an alternate evolutionary path that goes in a different direction as the original. As for me, the obvious one that steps out, in my mind, is Porygon 2. Now, obviously, Porygon Z, I mean, I love Porygon 2. I always kind of liked the Porygon line. And Porygon Z is very cool and is also very powerful, but I kind of want, but it's a virus, And it's like a Porygon 2 that, caught a virus, a computer virus. So I would kind of like to see one in the original line of Porygon, a bulky but yet powerful Pokemon similar to Porygon 2. So I'd like to see like a Porygon 3, basically, that follows more in the footsteps of the rest of the Porygon line rather than Porygon Z, which changes it up completely, which is really nice with the divergent evolutions. Oh, another divergent evolution that existed in the Pokemon game is obviously Slowking and Slowbro. I forgot to mention that one, but now I did. So yeah. Anyway, leave a comment about that. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.